Greetings and well met.
Hello.
Welcome to Torg Brewery's first virtual happy hour. Thanks for joining us. We just wanted to keep the lines of communication open, sit and chat about one of our beers.
And enjoy drinking beer, which hopefully you all have yours as well, so you can drink at home with us.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Debbie. I'm the head brewer here at Torg Brewery. This is my assistant brewer and daughter, Samantha, who's also responsible for all of our great logo work and art designs here at the brewery.
Me. But yeah, well, we thought we would just chat about some beer, chat about the fact that we're both history nerds, and just kind of talk about some random stuff. So the first item on the agenda, really, of the evening is the beer of choice for today, which is Bug, which is our Braggot, which I think would be great to describe what a Braggot is, would be the first thing to talk about. What is a Braggot? What makes it different?
Sure.
And the history, I guess, of what that is.
So a Braggot is a honey and malt fermented beverage. It can be a combination of mead and beer, or it can be those two ingredients can be brewed together. We think it probably dates back to the Celts and Picts in the British Isles is where it may have originated. We have literary references to it from the 11th and 12th century. It is mentioned in Canterbury Tales and other folklore in the British Isles. So it's a very old style. It was brewed long before the use of hops in beer. So it was seasoned with fresh flowers and other herbs and botanicals rather than hops.
One thing too, so Bug means the bumblebee, in Irish, and we all know that, and obviously honeybee, Irish honeybee, that makes a lot of sense. But I know too, being the assistant and the spawn of you, that you really like history, and you really like to look into the history of it. Do you have any of your favorite stories that you'd want to talk about, of like, while you were going down the rabbit hole of making,
to come up with a name
to come up for a name? Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of lore in the British Islands around bees. In fact, in Ireland, there's a whole section of ancient laws, the Braggot, that deals with beekeeping. So there was a young lad in Ireland. He was a member of the O'Neill royal family, I believe, and he wanted to become a priest. So he crossed the sea to Wales to become a disciple of St. David and study. And while he was at the monastery, he was given the task of being a beekeeper.
Yeah.
And he was a true bee whisperer. He increased the flocks of bees.
Flocks, gaggles,
I'm not sure.
Of bees.
But he planted all sorts of flowers that the bees loved and just increased the numbers of the bees there.
Yeah.
Just seemed at one with the bees. Everybody else was afraid to be in that corner of the monastery for fear of being stung, but he was there all the time amongst the bees. So his studies concluded, and he needed to return to Ireland. Yeah. So he said goodbye to his brethren, and he went and said goodbye to all the bees, which needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he said goodbye to the bees, and the next morning he awoke and went down to the ships to sail away. Well, the bees rose up out of their hives and followed the ship out to sea. So
of course,
he stopped, turned the ship around, they brought the bees back, he apologized to the abbot and said, I'm going to sneak away tomorrow. I've already said goodbye to the bees, I won't say goodbye again, I'll just sneak away. Yeah. So in the morning, went down to
bloodhounds.
Went down to the ships, boarded the ships, and set sail for Ireland. Bees rose up out of their hives and followed the ship to sea. So again, he had to turn the ship around because, of course, the sailors wanted nothing to do with these hordes of bees descending on them either, so they were very anxious to turn back as well. Yeah. Came back, the bees returned with him to the monastery, and the abbot was like, you know what? Maybe you should just take the bees with you this time. That way you can actually leave. So the third morning, when he woke up, he went down to the ship, had to convince the sailors and the captain that this is okay, they won't bother you, they'll be well-behaved bees. And then they set sail, and the bees again rose up and followed him to Ireland. Yeah. And that's how bees came.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I like how it's a whole story too. It's not just, well, one fine day with a warm summer breeze. No, it's like this guy was very mad at them and had to talk to them.
So that was Saint Modonic, I believe. My Dominic.
But yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I remember at one point when we were working on it, you had mentioned too that I think it was Saint Brigid or the god Brigid.
Yeah, the actual Celtic goddess.
Celtic goddess Brigid. She actually used to communicate with the bees in the sense that they worked as whisperers to the other world.
Yeah,
So they would go
bring
between messages from the other world to the living world and things like that, which I thought was kind of cool too, because of course it can't just be these bumblebees are just wonderful and make honey. It's also they communicate with the undead, because that's always creepy and wonderful.
Well,
they look
I think
cute, but they're really like metal and dark.
The Druids learned all of their skills and lore from them.
That's very true. We should have more to drink. I'm having you talk a lot, so she's so parched. Yeah, should we move on to questions, I suppose? Sure. And we have some questions to go over right now. So one of the questions that was submitted was about custom brew flavoring.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite flavor that you have either used or wanted to use to blend together with a beer? And were there any flavors that you put into the different beers that you were surprised by, or maybe confused why they didn't work?
Well, we had a lot of fun this year with our peachy Pilsbrucker.
Oh, peachy. That was so
That was
good.
really good. That turned out really well, and I think our kilted pumpkin.
The kilted pumpkin
worked
good.
really well. I tried the pumpkin with the Braggot beer with our Marzen.
Yeah.
Did not like that.
No. Was it just like the flavors didn't complement, or was it like horrendous? Get it away from me.
No, there was not a balance there, and it wasn't. Neither one brought out either the malt or the pumpkin. Yeah, I was really kind of hoping the malty background and the Braggot beer would kind of like the pie crust and the pumpkin inside it. But it
like
just
the
not go
bready,
well together.
Yeah. I think that's also an interesting part about mixing is you always, like in your head, have an idea of I know how it tastes normally, and then you think about the flavor combination in your head. It feels really good, but then when you go to do it, it's completely different. It's entire.
Yeah.
Like it can be anything from like this is really really good, or it can completely throw it off and it becomes an undrinkable situation.
Yes.
Just by like the teaspoon of a syrup.
Yeah. So like when we were homebrewing, we had a Scottish beer we had brewed for Christmas, and then intended to turn it into a spiced Christmas ale. Mistake. The whole keg went out. It was just way too overpowering.
What was in that one? Was it
Cloves and cinnamon and all
the
kinds
classic
of clove.
nutmeg
Yeah,
stuff.
the clove just overpowered everything. So, yeah. I still really would love to try to do something with coffee.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to do something with peppers. We tried a little bit.
Yeah, like a spicy thing.
Yeah, like a spicy thing, maybe a Mexican chocolate.
Like a Moscow Mule situation or a spicy chocolate.
Yeah, spicy
That'd be
chocolate.
kind of cool combination. Yeah. I know you played with some things like cinnamon sometimes works pretty well. There's other times where it's like I remember when we were flavoring, I think was it this one with like the currant juice.
Yeah.
We would sit and go back and forth, be like dropper of this, dropper
We
more.
were trying to figure out the proportions.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. And there was a point where we were like, oh, we don't taste anything. Drop. Oh, now the entire thing is bright red and it is all currant juice. It is all we taste now. But yeah, so next question then, as I read without glasses on, come on, astigmatism. So what is your favorite part of the beer naming process?
That I get to spend an afternoon on the couch Googling all sorts of weird stories. For beers we haven't come up with. We actually had a list full of names that we've just been saving, and they sometimes said, oh, that'd be a perfect beer for this name. So it's just fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's good to kind of go through
and the name has to have something to do with the beer and something to do with Torg.
Yeah, connection.
Finding those connections there and weaving them together.
Yeah.
Which is storytelling.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's what better time is it than when you're having fun doing something that you like to do anyway, which is like the whole reason of having a craft or getting into something like this, being an artist in a way, is to spend that time working with the things that you like, getting nerdy about it, and being able to then share it with other people, because as much as other people may not, you'll have the occasional person, it's beer, I don't really care, but for the most part, if there's something to dig your teeth into, that's the fun part. And we all have definitely our, regular beers we can go to, but when you go to a craft beer, it's a little bit more substantial. Not to toot yield horns. It's the experience of the event. So the last question we have right now is, what is your favorite beer that you have made so far?
Oh, I don't know. They're all so fun.
She's making fun of me.
They all have something different in the process or in the taste or in the expectation of waiting for this to come about. So it's really hard to pick a favorite.
You got like a top three. I mean, other than your flagships, I guess those are things you make all the time.
All the time, and they were really fun and really, we spent a lot of time home brewing and kind of perfecting those. And these were the ones we were going to launch our brewery with. So yeah, I had a lot invested in those. Those were special to me. This beer was a really lot of fun to put together because it's been one I've wanted to do for a while and do a lot, and I did a lot of different things, incorporating honey in it.
Yeah.
Using elderberry, so it was a lot of fun from the start to the finish, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing my German beers where I use decoction brews, German traditional styles here, which is where they're a lot of fun on brew day because you're really involved in the process and slowly raising up that temperature. They just smell great. I really liked our Rambling Lady IPA. That was really fun to put together, and it's a beer I want to redo again and play around with. We used Bramlin Cross hops for the first time and really love that hop. And I want to play around more with that beer. So that's a lot of fun, and it's still got things I want to do and play with that. So anyway, this is the format of our happy hour. We're going to do this once a week. We'll choose a beer on Monday, and then we'll let you know.
Also, support your local businesses. It's a hard time for us as well as a hard time for you, I'm sure, and we all need to stay connected at this time. I think we're going to jump off here, because I don't think that's the end of our thing.